They just come to protest for this Sowore and other
Are you ready?
What's your name and the group you represent?
My name is Comrade Brian Kabiru Dalla. I'm the co-convener of Center for Leadership and Development Initiative. We are here to commend the government of President Muhammadu Buhari and the security personnel that they are doing a wonderful job, and we will not allow any other foreign mercenaries or opposition to come and sabotage the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. And we are here to solidarize with what the security are doing, combating the Boko Haram, the banditry, and other form of insecurity in Nigeria. That's the reason why we are here. We are here for solidarity.
Okay. You protesting against what this other group are protesting, doing it with violence, do you think it's the right approach?
Nobody asks anybody to be violent or to be brutal against any other person, because the other people are doing what the other people are doing. They are doing it because it is inscribed in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that every Nigerian has the right to protest, either for or against. Ours is here to solidarize with the government of President Muhammadu Buhari.
And what I'm trying to say is that you are infringing on their own right by harassing
Nobody harassed
against
anybody. It was because they started insulting the people that we came together. That was the reason why some of them started agitating. That why will they be insulting them, because they are equally Nigerians. So that's the reason why we are here.
Sorry, before you start, you didn't tell us your name.
My name is Ibrahim Kabiru Dalla. I'm the co-convener of the Center for Leadership and Development Initiative. Thank you very much.
What our demands are, we're also going to tell you our opinion of what happened when we came here. And some of our leaders, some of the co-organizers of this freedom rally have been chased away by thugs who were hired to come and disrupt our peaceful rally. And we are not even sure of the condition of their safety now for some of our colleagues now, because they were chased away. And we actually went to make a case to the police to try and protect, to at least separate the two protests. And we all saw what happened here. It's not the best of policing that we have seen here, even though eventually they did intervene and it probably actually saved a lot of lives. But my colleague is going to comment on that and a few other things. But let's be very clear about one thing. What has happened here today is the clearest indication yet, and the most recent one, that when we talk about the attack, the concerted attack on the public space, on the civic space, the shrinking of the civic space, the attack on the rule of law, the undermining of the rights, and the violation, the deliberate violation of the rights of Nigerian citizens by those who are supposed to protect them, by the state that has the responsibility to protect them. That this is one example of it today. We came here peacefully. We called it a freedom rally. Our demands were simple. We got our information from the media, some of the investigative journalism that you have done. We know from Premium Times and from The Punch, for example, that there are more than 100 Nigerian citizens that are illegally detained in the country. Those are the ones that we know. There are many more. And in DSS detention centers, we're not talking about the police, because we all know that over 70% of people in Nigerian prisons, correctional facilities, are actually awaiting trial because they've not been convicted of any crime. And so that's the reason why we termed this a freedom rally. It's the beginning of a series of activities. Nigerians have to take back their country. They need to take back their citizenship. They need to reaffirm their humanity. We need to say to our rulers, and we are talking about our rulers across political party spectrum. We are not this, because if the federal government is violating court orders in Abuja with respect to cases that the federal government is trying, state governments are violating court orders with respect to cases that they are trying. So Sowore, court ordered Sowore to be released. The government has refused. Court ordered Jalingo. The court has refused to release it. And it's the state government that is trying them. And these are two different political parties. So this is not about one single party. This is about the Nigerian state and the Nigerian political class, uniting together to begin a reign of terror on Nigerian citizens. And where there is poverty, where poverty is increasing, citizens are going to resist. And we can all see that when there is resistance, it's in the context of resistance that human rights are violated. When there is resistance, there will be repression, human rights will be violated, and of course, resistance must continue and it will be doubled. So our demands were very clear. Stop violating court orders. Stop undermining the rule of law. Stop your attack on the judiciary. And please release all the illegally detained political prisoners and prisoners of conscience in the country. And particularly, we ask for the unconditional release of the 3 political prisoners, Sowore, and Jalingo. And we are holding the state responsible for anything that happens to Deji today, because it was before us here now that they did that. All right. Sorry. Okay, fine. Jaye Gaskia.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to express our profound disappointment against the refusal for the state to comply with the rule of law in this country. We are also very disappointed that the continuous violent violation of fundamental human rights of all Nigerians is in the increase in this country. We are also worried that there's a deliberate and calculated attempt by some people who are beneficiary of state-sponsored violence to continue to orchestrate violence against Nigerian people. And the example is what we have seen today. The same victims of states, they are the ones that have been mobilized. They will not help them to go to school. They will not help them to, get education. They will not get them to get any decency in life, but they are ready to mobilize them for political violence. They are ready to mobilize them to come and unleash terror on their fellow human Nigerians. So what we have seen today is a clear manifestation of the state intolerance on the civil responsibility of all Nigerians to demand for justice. Why we are here is simply to ensure that our country did not go in a manner that will continue to remind us about the military dictatorship. But what we have seen now, the people that have hijacked power at local, state, and national level, instead for them to follow the democratic tenets and ensure that there's a rule of law, there's a transparency and accountability, there's a responsible leadership, they have decided just to stay away and focus more in terms of massive looting, sponsoring violence, sponsoring, artificial poverty, and what have you. So this is why we say that enough is enough. We must take our country back. We have suffered enough to get democracy. The beneficiary of today's democracy are also themselves, yesterday they were crying. When we had made effort to ensure that, they were safe and protected, now, instead for them to appreciate Nigerians that have given their comfort, their life, to make sure that they follow the rule of law, to make sure that they did not, undermine democracy, to make sure that they did not undermine the freedom of expression, they did not undermine the space for civil society, to demand for justice, for accountability. Because the whole reason why we are seeing what we are seeing in Nigeria today, it is simply because civil society are demanding that there must be accountability. You cannot continue to undermine and continue to siphon public money. You can see the number of arrests by EFCC and ICPC of looters. Instead for the state to go after the looters, they are now going after innocent, peaceful Nigerians.
We'd like to know
This
what
is
happened here today. We really would like to.
what has happened today is that we have seen some young jobless boys who are victims of the state. Themselves, they are victims of the state. You can see that they are smoking, they are on drugs. They came to beat us physically. As I speak to you now, some of our colleagues, we don't know their fate because they've chased them, and this happened in front of the security. We went to and tell the security to ensure that they separate at least these two rallies, because we are here before and all we are doing, we were just standing peacefully, calmly, trying to wait for the Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission so that we can give him our demand, which has already been mentioned, that we want government to continue to follow the rule of law. We want the government to comply with all the court cases. We want the government to release all the political detainees who are illegally detained. We want the government to ensure that all the people, including the journalists and the activists that have been under illegal incarceration and detention, are released. These are the fundamental demands that we are making, and that we are tired of corruption, because corruption is the seed of the reason why they are doing what they are doing. And we are saying that the president has committed himself and committed to the nation that he is going to fight corruption, and that corruption is still going on. Despite the effort of EFCC, ICPC, they are doing their best, but some people in government are undermining this institution. And we are saying that we cannot continue this way. Secondly, our country has been exposed to the most ridiculous political space in the world. Everybody is seeing what is going on. For security people to enter court, it has never happened in the history of Nigeria, and it has never happened in the history of any African country. The next line of action is that we have already given the government ultimatum to meet with all our demands, which is respect of the rule of law, release all the illegally detained people, release the journalists and right activists, and also ensure that human rights are protected, and also ensure that corruption and looters have no hiding place in Nigeria. These are what we have articulated, and we want the government, if the government believes in rule of law, if the government believes in protecting human rights, if the government believes in fight against corruption, the government must adhere to this demand. And therefore, after what happened today, if the government did not do that, it means that government will continue to put itself in a very ridiculous, manner, locally and internationally, and that we have collective responsibility as Nigerian citizens to continue to remind government, because we are non-violent group. We are non-violent group, and we advocate for social justice. We advocate for human rights, and we are saying that they themselves, tomorrow they can be victim of human rights, just like they were victim yesterday.
Let me. The next step. Let's be very clear about the 14-day ultimatum, which expired today. So today is just a commencement action. We came here today peacefully to give the demands again to the custodian of our rights, which is the National Human Rights Commission. Now, the next steps are very clear to us. Into the new year, and in January, there's going to be another protest. Today, this rally is taking place in Abuja and in Lagos. In January, in early January, we are going to continue. If those demands are not met, we are going to continue, and we are going to expand beyond Lagos and Abuja. We are going to include 3 other cities, and that's the way we are going to be escalating these freedom rallies. We have termed them freedom rallies until those demands are held, are met, or something gives. But we warn our leaders, let them not throw our country into the kind of situation that we are witnessing in Hong Kong today, into the kind of situation we are witnessing in Chile today, into the kind of situation that we are witnessing all across the world today. If leaders in those countries are simply listening to their people, there will be no crisis. A word they say is enough for the wise. Yes, my day.
Thank you very much.
Freedom.
If you don't proceed, you don't worry. It's not going. You see, no, my guy. Nobody's not going. No. And he can send this camera. The last time we provided, and it's not my girlfriend is not going.
No shift you. Come here.
Hello, hey, press.
Good afternoon, morning, sir.
Let them move forward. We need this thing.
That this is the custodian of protection of human rights in Nigeria, and that is why we decided to come to human rights abuses going on at state and national level. And we, civil society, we are the allied of Human Rights Commission and Human Rights Commission as the only custodian in the country to help convey our concern to the authority. One, we want all the government should comply and respect that, because to do that is making us very themselves and eyes on the world. Secondly, we want government to protect and promote human rights of all Nigerians, irrespective of their age, their gender, their whatever political background. We want human rights to be very prominent and respected. And also wants government to release all those illegally detained Nigerians. There are many of them at the state level, at the national level, whom they have not committed nothing, but still kept some of them years in detention. But there are so many of them being about to trial for 10 years, 15 years.
Wait now. The man will come now. We don't get this man's speech already.
That is why we say that.
Is he going to come and talk to us?
We don't get this man's speech already now. So now the man will come.
In case Nigeria courts comply with the court order, and also a several tendency of some of the security agencies to the extent of going to court to say that they want to make the arrest without any warrant. We believe that Nigeria is not a banana country. Nigeria is founded on the basis of the rule of law. Nigeria should respect the rule of law, because that is what makes us different between the country that is practicing democracy, that is respecting the rule of law, and those other ones that are democratic.
We cannot go there now.
That is why we don't need this man. Move outside. We are tired of being victim of the action of some people in authority. So we believe that this message is better for so that all of us are right to be protected, because all of us, what has been done is right. Right freedom, right movement, right expression, what has given us this right. So today we are here to convey this. We are not here for any drama or anything. Just simply want to come to this message to the appropriate agency, which is the Human Rights Commission, to hope that you be able to convey this to the appropriate authority. This is why we are here. Thank you.
Shift, please, fast.
Tell the man, come out now.
Go down.
I'm very busy.
On the need to be abiding by the law in the conduct of their activities. Where the commission is up and doing in this. We have been meeting with appropriate authorities. We met with the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. We have discussed all these matters in depth, and the government is doing much about it. And the commission will also not relent in its effort at this. I want to find out if you have any written submission so that we can take it formally.
We came with written submission, but we were attacked that we were hired to come and attack us. In fact, as I speak to you, some of our colleagues, we don't know their fate because they want to attack them here in front of the police.
But we are going to make sure we get you.
We also want to thank the police because if not because of police, they would have killed us. They came with weapons to attack us. And these are the same victims of the Nigerian state. They have no job, they are smoking in their home, they are all drunks. And they will hire them to come and do that.
It is the duty of the police to protect all. Yes. Whether you are doing protest, the basic thing required is that you should be peaceful in your protest.
Exactly.
Once you are peaceful, it is your right to protest.
Absolutely.
Because here, the National Human Rights Commission, we receive all these with claims for human rights violations. People who have agitations, we receive them, listen to their complaints, and we take appropriate necessary action. So all I need is to urge you now to continue your protest, but in a very peaceful manner. Do this, it is your right, and we will continue to pursue the rights of all the citizens of Nigeria. This one we are assuring you.
Thank you.
Your complaints, like you have now outlined, we will take them to the appropriate authority.
And we will send the copy to you.
Endeavor to bring copy to us so that we will also transmit them as appropriate.
Thank you so much.
We assure you this.
Thank you.
And we will not relent in our efforts in this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am Balarabe Sabo. I'm the Director of Human Resources Management. Yes, the Executive Secretary is unavoidably absent. He's also being engaged in other official assignments.
No problem.
Yeah,
Thank you,
sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, sir.
Democracy, what a runaway me are you? What a runaway me are you? When I remember Sowore, what a runaway.